Good morning, everybody. It's Andy Phillips here, and it's 10 o'clock. It's Friday morning marketing, and I've got Josh Lister. Say hello, Josh.
Hello, Josh.
Hello, Josh. We're going to be talking Facebook again today. Do you want to go through what we're going to be talking about? And I'll put the slide up on screen so people can see it. So
we're going to talk about the 3 secrets to Facebook marketing that will deliver you over 100 leads, even if you've never used Facebook before. It's a bit of a methodology that we apply to any sort of campaign that we do, and that you can too. It's super easy, and it'll 100% help with your Facebook marketing if you ever choose to do so. So, I can't move right. What's going on? There we go. So, secret number 1 is location-based targeting. Right? Facebook will basically auto give you a audience size or an area size if you select certain areas, right? So when you first start creating an ad, it'll actually select the whole of the United Kingdom, which is probably not your target audience. But if you were to select London, for example, it sets out a 25-mile radius around London, which is about 10 million people. And so, your customer base likely isn't all of London. I mean, it could be, but say, for example, you wanted to purchase a home in Ilford, you'd want to, that's your area, that area well. There's like housing prices are like bang on there. I don't know, I've got no idea, I'm just picking a town, but like all you want to do is be showing an ad to a radius around Ilford, right? That is looking for seller leads. You don't want to be advertising to people in St. Albans because it's likely that they're not going to have a house in Ilford, right? So as I said, Facebook defaults to this massive zone around your business or area that you want to target. But you're not McDonald's, right? Don't waste your money by just advertising to anyone and everyone, because you're going to quickly run through it all. And it'll be wasted on people who literally can't be your customers, like the people in St. Albans if you're advertising in Ilford. So, and your time gets wasted with responses just way too far away, right? So zoning your location stops about 90% of your budget going to waste. And I'll show you an example in a moment. So like a great local business example might be a brand new Ilford-based dentist. They wouldn't want to advertise to people and say Hampstead or Soho, because there's 1,000,001 dentists between them and Ilford, right? They're going to go to those dentists before the one in Ilford. And so, or you can focus your money in a 20-minute drivable area or serviceable zone around the business. Mark Zuckerberg won't like it, but it will find you customers. And these are your types of butts and seats sort of customers, so the people will actually purchase from you.
So we look at that as someone like a property sourcer, for instance, who gets property in a specific area in London, and may deal in 2 or 3 specific areas in London. They can geo-target specifically the ads for the area very, very, very tightly, so they don't waste their money. They don't waste, money on eyeballs that will never buy. That's basically the idea. It's a geo-target really tightly to just the zone that you want to market in.
That's it. And just to show you an example of how this works, like we initially set up an ad to hit the whole of London, and that was like 10 million people. But then we did a 20-minute drive serviceable zone around Ilford, and it brought it down to 130,000, which makes your ad 74 times cheaper, right? Think about that for a sec. That's insane. That's why most people do. I did Facebook ads and it didn't work because they didn't do this. And you can make it even cheaper with by layering on things like behavioral and interests on top of that. So, for the housing example, you're looking for seller leads in Ilford. I would first do this zone to get down 130,000 people, and then you can add on people who own a home, or people looking to move, and that will reduce it down even further. So then it shows your ad to people who are likely to purchase from you. The second secret is having a thumb-stopping, attention-getting, click-worthy act now offer, right? As I said, 90% of small, medium businesses say Facebook ads don't work. We tried, didn't get any response. And then they show me this ad to the right here. This is for an equestrian center looking to get people to come in and ride their horses in their area. But like, it doesn't say anything about the place. The ad's kind of grainy. It's black and white. It looks like it's just been scanned or something like that.
Because this is be like a very simple post that they might just, it's a sort of throwaway post. It says over 100 years of history in your backyard. So it's a nice little social post, but absolutely awful for an ad.
Mm-hmm. And as I said, they don't work if you don't have a click-worthy offer, right? Yeah. Or have an attention-getting photo, collage, or video. So, but most importantly, you have to have an offer, something worth clicking, worth breaking habit over. And great Facebook ads are built on 7 steps, and each step for a specific reason. And I'll show you that in the next slide. But if you stick to these 7 steps, like, you will absolutely crush it 100% of the time with the offer. You'll have to switch out different images sometimes, and that's where split testing happens. But if you follow these 7 steps, you will get results. If you don't, you won't. Simple as that. So here's an example for a gym in a client in Australia. And what you need to do is we first call out the audience, right? So this ad goes, ladies of Mansfield want a way to get fit while actually loving the process. So here we can target a cervical zone around Mansfield, only women, and then have interests that they like fitness, right? And then we're showing them an ad that is calling them out. A property thing might be, hey, Ilford homeowner looking to sell fast. You get the idea. So then you want to call out their pain, right? So like for this one, it's like getting fit, firm, and toned doesn't have to be impossible, burdensome, or nightmarish task. You then present them with a worthy offer. So, so the calling out the pain, it's showing kind of empathy to whoever the reader is, and they then go, oh, that's something that I have a problem with. Let me read on further. So now you then don't say like, oh, just come into our gym. You give them something that's like worth clicking up and signing up to. And so it's like, hey, we have a 30-day free challenge. Perfect if you want to feel, look, and be your best in a fun, challenging, and 100% supportive community. And so that's something that's worth clicking, right? And then we layer on benefits of what that offer is, and we usually do that from customer research. You probably in the property, the general sort of benefits. It's like if they're looking to sell, it's like, hey, like looking to sell fast. We can get through the process in under X amount of time. You can list a few different benefits there, but then the next thing you want to do is have a scarcity-based call to action. So like this one says, click sign up below to claim, only 7 spots left. People only act when there is a sense of urgency. If this was hey, we're open anytime, come on in whenever, like people do not click. But if there's only 2 spots left or whatever, like people are, oh, I'll click now. That's why sales work at in things like was it like Boxing Day or Boxing Day sales? Like, I've only got a day to come down. Let's rush down to Oxford Street and get rammed shoulder to shoulder next to everyone. Bloody hate that place, but like, but it works, right? And you see that it works. And then the next thing is to have a very clear, focused photo or image. That is key, absolutely key. People see the image and then they go up, and then they come back to the image, and then they see they don't go linearly down, right? So it's Facebook is a very visual platform. And then the last thing is to repeat the worthy offer so they can then sign up. And that's the 7 steps.
It is like just a bit of a just using psychology, a little bit of gentle psychology. I mean, this isn't something which is too weird. Calling out an audience, call out the pain, a worthy offer. These are all things that are just another little psychological step to get someone to click something. So it's not something which, if you're doing Facebook ads, you cannot do. You can call out the audience, who you're dealing with, what their pain is, and just creating a worthy offer, and then the benefits of that worthy offer is something which you've probably already got anyway, in maybe even leaflets. If you're doing leaflet drops, you've probably got a lot of this information. So it's just really sort of taking some of that taking some of the psychological concepts and putting it into a Facebook ad in a formulaic way.
Mm-hmm. And the last secret is placing placements where they're supposed to be placed. Right? A placement where the ad appears, right? So think billboard, TV, magazine, newspapers. Facebook has the same thing. There's 8 different and unique placements across 4 different platforms. And Facebook basically wants to run your ad everywhere to get the most money out of you. But you want to run your ad where it will get the most results, right? And so out of all these different placements, there are actually a few more now. This slide's a bit old, so I apologize for that. But I think there's even 10 or 11 different placements now across a few different more platforms. But only one drives leads, results, and actionable customers for these types of ads. And let's go in. Which one do you think it might be, right? So there's messenger ads, and that's when you're scrolling through your Facebook Messenger and you'll see there's an advert in there. This is, I find, or from our experience, is just a bit too personal. People don't really click on them. It's imagine getting a text from Tesco saying, "Hey, come on in, guy. I haven't seen you in a while." You'd be like, "What the hell? No, thank you very much." Audience network is everywhere else, so it'll basically show your ad in things like apps. Or on different websites. It doesn't work for cold audience targeting. So people who have only seen your ad for the first time, that works really well for retargeting, which is a different thing altogether, but we won't get into that. Stories is like, think like Snapchat. You need a video to make that work. It doesn't really work too well for the types of ad that we've just shown. The Instagram feed, unless you're an e-commerce brand, I wouldn't worry about it. It just doesn't work so well unless you have a product to sell. The right column is like that section on Facebook that everyone pretty much ignores. Again, it works really well for retargeting, but not for the type of ad that we're trying to run. The in-stream videos is that kind of 5 seconds you see in a Facebook Live randomly. You need a really short video and a quick call to action in there, and it's more for more techie marketers. I wouldn't again worry about it. Instant articles, advertisements inside of things like BBC articles or news articles. They can work depending on the niche, but I wouldn't worry about it for things like property. But the Facebook news feed is pretty much the only one that consistently works for small, medium sized businesses. And for property stuff, that's all I'd recommend doing your placements. And so here's an example, a property example, a client that wanted to sell a property. I've blacked out the things just for their privacy, but what they did is go attention. They called out the area, attention Miami City home. This is in the States. Miami City homeowners and surrounding cities. Do you know of anyone looking to purchase a home in this place? Or it could be this time, December. Click here. I have compiled a complimentary report of gorgeous homes for sale under $250,000 in your area. Some of these homes even qualify for special financing programs. So that is the click-worthy offer, right? If people go, "Oh yeah, I'm interested in that list," you're like 95% sure that they're interested in buying a home under 250,000 people. They are your target market. And again, you just sort of repeat the offer. Thanks, call me at this number if you've got any questions. And so this was a real quick ad that we ran. We then layered on targeting behaviors, things like targeting realtor.com, homes.com, real estate interests, Zillow, which is like the American Rightmove. And then you can layer on things like first-time home buyers, or even have behaviors like likely to move. And so what this ad ended up doing is, we spent like $50 US, so like 40 pounds. It got in 10 leads across 4 days, and sold the property. So that's the kind of the power of this sort of ad. They didn't have to call anyone up. They just turned this ad on. They came in. leads went into the CRM where we sent out the list of homes, which they created literally from that Zillow. You can do the same thing in Rightmove. And what's the other property thing here?
Zoopla.
Yeah, Zoopla. Yeah, you can basically create that lead list and send them the link, right? And you can even do some specky things with like questionnaires where you ask them what type of property they're looking for, and it can pre-populate the link and download the thing, and you can send it to them all through like a CRM. But that's just for something else. So we'll talk about that a bit later on. But that's the power of a Facebook ad, and just calling out the audience, giving them something click-worthy, and then repeating the offer again. And so there's your 3 secrets. Secret number 1 is location, location, location-based targeting. Don't let Facebook determine your circle. Target your serviceable zone to get those butts in seats or like actionable customers. Secret number 2 is have a thumb-stopping, attention-getting, click-worthy act now offer. 90% of Facebook ads don't hit their goal. So make sure you have a great human-focused photo and follow the 7 steps for ad success. And the last secret is placing placements where they're supposed to be placed. Facebook wants to spend your money fast, so run ads where it's going to get the most leads. Choose the Facebook newsfeed to get the best results. And yeah, so that's the 3 secrets for Facebook marketing that will deliver over 100 leads, even if you've never used Facebook before.
Brilliant. I've got one quick question here. This comes from Andy Gaunt. It says, what's the best call to action on this type of ad? Is it lead capture, messenger, drive to website, etc.? And I guess the answer is sort of whatever the action you want them to do. You know, so there is no best, but it's really just about what's the outcome you're looking for.
Yeah. There's the old marketing saying when they don't know the answer to this is test it, right? And there isn't a best option, as Andy says. I would create 3 versions of the same ad, all with different call to actions. One being a lead form, one could be a messenger. Messengers work really well if you have a lot of pre-qualifying questions. So, you know, like what's your what type of property are you looking for? What's the price range? How many rooms? Where do you live? You know, if you've got all these different questions that need to be answered, then having a messenger bot works really well, or having a form on a website works really well. It doesn't work so well on a lead capture form. Whereas if you're just getting name, email, phone number, lead capture forms work really well because they automatically populate the lead form. So it's all about, do you have to pre-qualify them or not? If you do, I'd probably go the messenger or website route. If you don't, I'd go the lead capture form route.
Yeah, you can do sort of similar things. It all depends on the amount of information you're looking for. But the messenger bot is a good one because it can sort of, because if you set it up in the right way, you can very simply qualify leads quite fast because of the way that the bot works. But you can also do something very similar, I guess, with like a form on the website. So if it's sending them specifically to a page and it's got a little form that says what are you specifically looking for, maybe a way of doing it as well. I mean, one of the psychological things you don't want to do is to put too many blockers in the way and get them to answer too many questions because they might fall out. But
yeah, there's a fine line there,
depends, doesn't it?
Definitely, there's a fine line there.
Yeah, it's a great question.
The best thing to do there is to ask the minimal amount of questions to get the answers you need. Yeah. You can always ask them more questions on a phone call, but the more touch points you need, the higher rate of conversion dropping you're gonna have. Yeah, so that people will drop out.
It's really with a bot. It's really more to do with segregating as many people as possible. So putting them into the boxes that they need to be in, so you can talk to them about the things they actually want to talk about. Mm-hmm. So that's a good way because and you might only need one thing. You might need to are you buying now? Are you buying? Sorry, are you selling now? Are you selling later? That could be something. Are you thinking of selling, or do you want to sell right now? Because anybody who wants to sell right now, are the people who want to talk to you right now. If you're just thinking of selling, do you want some information about selling your property? Just sort of splitting people up in those sort of things might be an idea. So yeah, great question, absolutely great question. What we'd do is we've had a few people sort of talk about things like CRMs and stuff like that, and sort of, you know, knowing where people are in pipelines and stuff like that. And we're thinking of doing that next week. I think we'll do a little bit of discussion on that next week, because there's a lot of people talking about that, and it's not something which I think is an easy answer for a lot of people. They just, because they're scrambling around trying to find out what's the best way of doing it and things like that. So, but there's a lot more to just having a CRM. If you can link things to that CRM or do things through that CRM that are going to make your marketing a lot easier, then that would be a better way of doing it. So we're going to put a thinking caps on and sort of have a little think about that, because we've had that question a few times. So yeah, we'll have a little chat about that next Friday. So any other questions, if you can stick them into the comments, we'll come back to this and we'll get those done. We're also putting all these into a unit within the actual closed Facebook group. So, you know, if you wanted to go through the marketing stuff, there's a unit which has got all the marketing, all the Friday morning marketing videos in, so you can just quickly go through those ones that you think are going to be good for you. So until next Friday, I want to say thanks for joining us again, and we'll see you next Friday.
Thanks, guys.